Now that I've let the cat out of the house, not of the bag, hi, it's been a long time, relatively speaking. I moved, and 100 new ones of you showed up, so thank you. I have like 320 something subscribers now, so that's great. I think I jumped from 2 to 300 without even posting anything, so wow, great. Thanks for all your hard work of showing up, as compared to my work of just not doing not doing anything except of course moving. But yeah. So I moved mid-October and I've been settling in. Um, this is my screen, my wooden privacy screen behind me. It used to be one of the walls of my room at my parents' house, and I kept it because I thought, well, it might be useful for something, and it is. It makes a great backdrop. So, I'm trying to figure out where to start. May as well start here. So, oh right, I have to remind Editing Thorn to try to flip the video in DaVinci Resolve because I may as well start doing that now because I was going to do it after I moved so that you wouldn't be weirded out by the space suddenly being a mirror image of what it used to be. This is my left wrist actually, which will probably make sense if I figure out how to flip the video, but if not, yeah. I got a new tattoo, my first one. It's a devotional one from my patron god, Gwynap Neve, and it's a line of poetry that's connected to my vows to him, when I made a lifelong dedication to him 3 Halloweens ago, and we also count that as the start of my sacred marriage to him because I'm what's known as a god spouse or a spirit partner. So it says, "O Gwenapni, my soul's delight," and it has some thorny rose vines like the ones I used to draw a lot of in my art, and in fact, these roses are the exact ones that in the reference image of my art that I showed the artist, and I think it's so cool that she put them in there. And it has the Awen symbol under his name because this goes into the Welsh part of my pagan path, but like my Awen or inspiration basically comes from him. So I got that done a few days ago, so it's still healing, but it's looking and feeling great so far. So I have a few more planned, and I'm excited for that prospect. But for right now, I'm just like gonna enjoy this one. I feel like a large percentage of trans guys and of pagans or polytheists have tattoos, and considering I'm both, it felt weird not to have one, but and now I do. Oh, and by the way, this is something that I got from the Winter Nightmare of the Crafty Silent Lamb. They included these bracelets for free, actually, in a different thing that I bought from them, which was the first package that I opened here, which was great. But I didn't do an unboxing of that, and I don't know if I'll get into all the details of things that have happened since I got here because there's a lot, but I do have a few things to show, and then maybe a small tour like of my room. I'm still working on setting it up, but it's not a pile of cardboard boxes and bags, which is nice. Oh yeah, this is the living room. because this is where there's space for my desk, which is a table, actually, because I happened to score a table from a friend, and it's twice as big as my old desk. It's like 3 feet wide, maybe, a couple feet deep, like this way, and I'm not hemmed in on all sides by stuff except for now with this screen, but that's gonna move after the video. I didn't introduce myself, but I'm Thorn, he, him, his. This is my new Gothic grotto. Feels weird to say that when I'm out here, because this is a common area, but like, I guess within the space of my channel, anything, the space I'm creating for us, y'all, and me is my Gothic grotto, so yeah. Should probably start with some crochet projects next. Well, I made a new goat. Don't worry, the tiny goat is still here, but he has a brother now. Pardon my reach. They're sitting on the pillow over here. You might have seen him on Instagram. I'm not sure if I introduced him in the video yet, but this is Minos, also named after a, much like Banros, also named after a god in one of my pagan paths, known as modern Minoan paganism. Yes, that Minos. To us, he's a moon god instead of a king, but yeah. Anyway, Minos, the night goat. This is a little bit of Mosaic Crochet that I tried when I was first learning that, and now I'm hooked. Where's my crochet hook? Now I'm hooked. Visual pun. Anyway, this pattern I think is called Gothic Goat by someone. I will link it down below. And I think apparently it's based on Black Phillip from the Witch movie, which is extra awesome. And I love the different things I used for his eyes and the little forehead triangle. And I feel like his legs came out really wonky, but that's very charming. He just has this very, very wise and inscrutable look, which also fits the person he's named after. And Banros, the tiny goat, is also here. He's back. Or, well, we're all back on the channel. This is the cushion they've been sitting on. And my crochet shawl, which is now a goat blanket. I've had them over on the edge of my desk where they can watch the sunset like Banros used to out of my window. Except now, it's the sunset of a place where I'm happy. So yeah, I'm actually in the renting one of the rooms of this house where some of my friends live that I've known for quite a while, and I knew that they were experienced at living in a community, and like how to talk about boundaries and if conflict comes up. So I knew that it would be a safe place for me in that regard. And also, like, it's a pretty low rate considering the area I'm in. I'm not going to be too exact on that, but you know, the Bay Area. But I'm really happy that I'm here. I'm close to my chosen family, especially my chosen brother Brian, who I've mentioned before. Got to spend Halloween with Brian and their family. And oh yeah, I have I should add in some pictures of my Halloween costume. So here's that. I hadn't actually worn the whole thing until that night, but it was great. I prepared two different. I came prepared for if it was cold, like with my mesh spiderweb poncho thing. I had my red dragon wing shawl that you see in the close-up picture, and then I also had this just in case I needed an extra layer, and I had my black house pants that I was going to wear under it if I needed to, but I was actually warm, which it's not too surprising considering I tend to warm up really quickly and not be as bothered by cold temperatures as a lot of people are, but I didn't know how that would play into like the temperatures up here. So, but yeah, it was fine. I only had one wardrobe malfunction, and it was at the very end, and luckily no one saw it. But like, remember I showed you the loincloth last time? As I was walking to the car to like my brother was gonna drop me off at home, I was like, oh no, what's happening? Something is falling. It shouldn't be falling. And I checked, and luckily it was not the outer layer, like the kilt things. I was like, okay, so it's the inner layer. I was afraid that would happen, but it didn't happen until the very end of the night. So I kind of cinched my legs and scooched to the car, and we were also dropping off like a 10-year-old, so I didn't say anything about this until they were out of earshot. But thankfully it was dark in the car, so I just kind of like made some adjustments, and it was fine after that. But I was like, wow, that was I'll have to figure out how to wear that thing in the future if I do. But the faux leather wrap skirt worked great, so at least there's that. Oh yeah, the bag did not work. It kept. I had it tied to my belt, but it kept the weight of it, since I had a lot of stuff, a lot of things in it, kept pulling down and knocking against my knees. I'm like, I was afraid that it was going to pull off my skirt, and I was like, that's probably not a good idea. So I just left that. I left the bag out of the costume, but but it was a fun night. Right, speaking of Halloween, actually, let's see, my goats are sitting on the other thing I want to show you, which is a going away present from one of my friends. I can probably find the shop that this bag is from. It's on Etsy, but my friend was like, I want to buy you a project bag, and the one they showed me an example of happened to be knitting, and I was like, well, that's awesome. If you want to buy me one, would you mind if I chose one? And they seemed happy with that, because they hadn't realized it was the wrong craft. Like, just like I mean, the picture of that bag was cute, but it wasn't really my style, so plus it was a different craft. So anyway, I'm not meaning to sound ungrateful. Like, I am very happy with this this bag, but I'm also glad that I got to choose it, because it's witchy. And speaking of Halloween, I got 3 skeins of yarn from the Hobie Halloween line before tonight. More on that later. This isn't quite done, but the reason I had my orange hook was because it matched this. I think this is the Dahlia Freaky Nightmare colorway from Hobie, and to me it looks like sunset on Halloween night when I'm thinking about the fact that my patron god is going to be coming back from like sleeping slash death in the um, um, other world, since that's what he in my path, like that's what he does on Noskalan Gayav, which is Halloween. So I'm thinking about that, and it's just a really exciting, wonderful time on top of the awesomeness of Halloween itself. So that's what it makes me think of. And just, I love the colors. I wanted to make sure that I did something that used the whole skein, and I still have some more to go, but we're almost there. It's been fun watching the color change because like there are several threads in here. Like it's a very loosely plied yarn, and every so often there's just a tiny knot where one of the threads of one color ends and it's replaced with a different color. So for this example, there are currently 2 yellows and 2 oranges. There used to be 3 oranges and 1 yellow. So it just gradually fades. And my roommate saw this and loved it, and so she's going to commission me for a piece, because we found out that Hobie still has some for half off on their website, and I just bought 4 skeins just so we have enough for whatever she might want. So that's awesome. Like I love seeing other people get excited about yarn, and make commissions aren't something I intend to do as my main income, but it's fun to do it for friends, and to like get some income from it. So yeah, since I've been focusing on like getting settled in the past few weeks, knowing that I will be working more on business stuff or like YouTube channel stuff soon, but not now. So it has been nice to have some breathing room, but also I'm like, well, just so that I have plans for the future. Just, yeah. Anyway, with this, I started with a triangle shawl, but I didn't want it to be super wide, so I stopped adding new skulls when it was wide enough, and it's going to be a veil type of thing. So yeah. I have one more project with 2 different skeins of yarn from Hobie that I want to show you, and then we will do a small tour just of my areas of the house, because I don't know what is okay for me to show, but like I do know that my room is fine. So anyway, the Hobie Universe Sparkly Halloween yarn. That's what this is. I wanted something that looked like the Hubble Space Telescope and is made up of granny squares, which are a Mosaic Crochet pattern called Northern Tiles. I'll also put that down in the description. And then this one is just one skein of yarn, but I wanted, well, this is the last bit of one of the colorways, and this is a bit of the other colorway, and then I used some of the ice yarn, just the black sparkly yarn, and then I also used the orange sparkly yarn, so, but those are not Hobie yarns, so anyway, this is a Mosaic Crochet pattern also. It's based on Gravity by Sixel Patterns, or Sixel Designs on Etsy. More shops to link in the description. But I didn't switch colors because I just wanted to see what it would look like in this one yarn, since it does change color, and I also wanted to see how the two variegated skeins would interact in each of the squares, and they're all different. Like, same pattern. Mostly I missed a few stitches here and there, but like changed it, and I'm still learning how to read Mosaic Crochet patterns, but I love how it turned out. And it won't just be a giant cross, it'll have something in between, but I haven't really decided how to fill it in yet. It will probably be with the aforementioned orange and black sparkly yarn from Ice. So I do have a skein of each of them in the project bag that I'm using. Anyway, this is a whip currently, so I'll update you on that as further news about what this is going to be comes out. The news has to come to me first in the form of ideas. So, right, time to look at my room. That's where I had y'all standing currently, on the Enter If You Dare box from Joanne's. Sorry if you can hear my roommate in the kitchen, but I much prefer the sounds of the people in this house than in my old house, because I feel safe here. Wow. Anyway, I forgot to show my little box of crochet hooks and what's it called? Lisette fork that I made out of wire. It did work. It snagged, so I wouldn't use it probably after that, but I'm keeping it because it's pretty and it's proof that I can do things, which is nice. Also, I think this came with the bag I showed earlier. It's a little stitch marker. And my little yarn bowl from my friend. It's nice to have that out. You might not be able to see my computer screen too well, but that is some old art of mine with a couple of characters in space. That I've discovered these characters are also secretly, well, the gods of the world that my stories are set in, but also secretly gods in one of the paths that I'm on now. So that's fun. And it just felt like it's just a really nice feeling to have some old art of things that I loved and are currently once again relevant to my life. Right, there's my ring light. There are the goats, and just do a pan shot of my table curtain. It's a really nice curtain. Tree. And I'll probably cut a bit just so you can see the important stuff. Whoa, it's a deer. A gift from my friend after surgery. So there are still some boxes of stuff, as you can see, and a really beautiful carpet. I love this carpet. belongs to one of the roommates. And this shelf that I bought from Hexagonica something on Etsy. They're a Ukrainian-based furniture store, and they have these modular shelving units with different patterns on the sides. This one's the honeycomb, I think. And they're not simple to put, or they're not intuitive to put together, but once you watch the video, it's like, it's awesome. Like, it's all bits of plywood, probably. Like, this bit slides in here, and this front piece slides on, and I'm just in awe of the way that it's constructed. So I bought a couple of those shelves. The the shipping was not cheap, but I did get them for half off. So yeah. And what you were looking at now is my altar to the one I call Sun Mom, or Inanna. I have all these pretty blue and gold things on here, including this golden vase that I just found on the sidewalk for free the day after I built this altar, and I was like, the setting sun sits right there on the wall. I need something like a bronze mirror, but where am I going to find that? Well, they do work in mysterious ways. And this pottery that is currently holding my offering of coffee for her, and also this, was made by my roommate, and it's gorgeous. And this is my door with the little prayer beads that I made for Gwen, and the black lace on it. It looks very yellow in this light, but that's because it's a warm golden light. It is amazing that I actually have a door and walls. I can even lock my door if I want. Okay. Oh, there are a few pieces on the walls. I mean, of art. Some of them are partially nude, but nothing too, like, not too much. I would say I won't zoom in on them, but just be aware of that. There's some boobs. Anyway, this is my first of all, this is my bed. I was laughing because at first glance it looks like my Grafcan of Gwyn has a mustache, because this sash thing. Yeah, I have one of my giant Grafcans on the bed. The other one I was actually sitting on. I have the mermaid that makes me think of Sun Mom draped over my chair. And I haven't figured out shelving for all of my stuff. Like, I have some clothes over there that are hanging on my bed frame, and some other stuff. Most of my crochet stuff is just piled there and in the box. But as you can see, I have this other shelf. This is the taller version of the modular shelves I was talking about before. And we have our stuffy friends and meds and stuff, and of course yarn. So this is actually all of my yarn currently, I think. Wow. I'm very proud of myself for fitting it into 2 shelves, but also it's more space than I had before, so that's great. Which pattern is this? Let me zoom in. Oh, it's the diamond pattern. I like this because it makes me think of a snake's back. Snake. And one of the first things I did was figure out the curtain situation. So I put my scythe, which I always had in the back of my old videos, up as a curtain rod. And I like how it looks like a crescent moon. and put some fabric artfully up there, and the broom lace situation is kind of, I feel like I was kind of doing a um the warding thing, but I just kind of did what felt right. And I feel like some of my pictures are also that. I mean, they also have meaning, and they're pretty. Like, look at him, gorgeous. I mean, I'm laughing because I genuinely do think that guy is gorgeous, but it's funny because like, oh, a gothic vampire with blood, like playing the violin. Although it makes me think of one of my characters, um, who would tell me he does not play the violin; he plays the fiddle specifically. Then some more art pieces over there. I don't remember where I got those two on the wall, but I bought them from artists at anime conventions or like concerts. If you happen to recognize them, please let me know so I can tag the artist. But that one is from a Victoria Francis calendar, and that one is from my friend on Instagram. I'm not sure of their name on Instagram, but I'll tag them. Faye probably, or yeah, they're also a really good artist. And just briefly, my other Grafgan, my first one of my character Tarlin, and I'm happy that I got to put her up on the wall. I've been making lots of rugs for the floor because it is cold, but it's not as needed as before because I have this space heater. And as you can see, stuff under my bed. I'm so glad I have I took the feet with the bed. They're not actually as heavy as they look. They're really light. They're also not inherently part of the bed, so I took them so that I could have some storage space, which is good because this room is not large. But yeah, bedside table, discount Halloween candy, um, another rug I made, and this is actually woven from my old clothes because I found out that weaving rugs is something that I like doing, especially from like old clothes, and that way I can get rid of clothes I've had for a while but just haven't known what to do with, and it gives me a thing to look into of things that I could sell because I can get, like, it's fairly easy to get secondhand clothes and upcycle them into rugs. And I actually saw some people doing something very similar with upcycled clothes into like bags and aprons and stuff at the farmers market that's like a block or two from here. So yeah, that's an exciting possibility. I think I'm going to put another shelf here, hopefully with my cardigans and I'm used to thinking of crochet wearables as cardigans because I'm a Ghoul Squad member. Go check out Altnot's channel. But mine are mostly shawls, honestly. Shawls and like wrap skirts. But yeah, those things probably gonna need to be here. But in the meantime, I have a little makeshift wastebasket and a laundry bin in this spooky bag because it is large. It's too large for anything except laundry. Oh, and this small lamp, I I find it's really useful to turn it on at night when or just anytime I don't want the huge lamp up there. Lamp, I mean like ceiling light, which is nice. Like, it's not a bare bulb, but like it's a lot when I just want to lie down. So, but I also don't like the complete dark. Oh, and my project bags with projects in them fit there on that thing that was probably supposed to be a shoe rack. It was here when I moved in. But yeah, um, and my other bags and purse and like some. Oh yeah, my cloak is over there. it's this thing, which I haven't worn much because it's been hanging over the top of one of my privacy screens for a long time. So yeah. And the interesting thing about this room is this is, I'm not sure if I mentioned, but this is like an old um, Victorian house, and it has a lot of history. And this was probably the servants' quarters because, like, this is just off the kitchen. It's the only downstairs room, and so that's cool. Like, and it has its own shower, just like a tiny room. And ideally, I'd love to have. I was hoping to have my own bathroom in the place I moved into, but I do have the downstairs bathroom, which is right across the hall, and especially at night, everyone is upstairs and they're going to be using the upstairs bathroom, so I don't have to worry that I'll need to pee and no one will, someone will be in there. So it's great. And this little nook will probably eventually be a very narrow bookshelf with actual books this time, because I do have a few of those. They're currently in the boxes out in the living room. But you may be wondering what the heck this is. It's actually used to be a dumbwaiter. Like, you would pull the bell and then they would send stuff up to you. But obviously it has a ceiling now. And those bars are too high for me to do anything with, and I'm not sure if that's like safe to hang stuff on them. So I'm not going to use all that space, but I did put some fabric on this as a curtain to create like a nice secluded area. And this is my other altar. The third altar is not set up yet. It's that's going to be Gwen's main altar out in the shrine room, which is one reason I love living here. It's a house full of polytheists, and we all have our own like altars and stuff, and like gods and blessed spirits that we have to have our shrines for. So I've been told that I can have some space in the shrine room, which I think would be awesome because Gwen is my main god, and I kind of want him to be in the one of the places of honor in the house, but also I wanted to have an altar in my own room, which I was thinking it would be for Gwen, but also kind of for the god I mentioned earlier, Minos, who actually he was on my computer screen too, on the left, the one that I thought was a character at first, but then he turned out to be a god from a different mythos other than mine too. Anyway, he is a face of Gwen, for me at least. Oh, scarf alert. So for me at least, he's a face of Gwen, as well as like he and Gwen for me are faces of each other, but they're also sometimes separate, but they feel like the same person, like folded different ways. Like a cootie catcher, if that makes sense. Or speaking different languages. It's hard to explain, but anyway, I was told that actually this altar is going to be specifically for the Minos side of that being, or for Minos himself, and that is another page from the same calendar as the guy playing the fiddle. I've always loved this art because it makes me think of that same character who turned out to be Minos. His name in my world is Ayava. Ayava. So, yeah, that's his space, and I have some incense and odds and ends here. Oh, those are the prayer beads I made for Ayava several years ago. The first prayer beads that I made. And that silver thing, which is serving as the mirror in honor of him, because it's kind of like silver is one of the things that his mirrors can be made out of, just like bronze or golden mirrors are for the goddess I call Sun Mom. Oh hey, it's me. Anyway, it's a turkey tray that I found at the dollar store, which which is just really funny. Like I don't think it feels like it doesn't feel like it's considered disrespectful at all. Obviously, I wouldn't have it if it was, but it's just really funny that I people were not expecting me to use it as this, but here we are. And of course, I have my accessory and clothes shelves over here. It is so nice to have actual shelves for this one. Oh yeah, as you can see, it's the third and final shelf that I have from that, and this one is, you can just barely see this one. The it it has these scale shapes, and it is this one is called the mermaid design. So that's one reason why I love this one. It's so nice to have this space organized, because before I just had it in a giant mess, kind of, because I didn't have shelving. But speaking of mermaids, I have a little ocean basket here. Some new stuff, some old. Those two Halloween cards I've had for a while, and they've made me think of my character Tarlin for a long time. The same one that's on the wall over there. She's become sort of a spirit friend recently, as many of my characters have. But I've talked about more about that in other places. So I think we're done right here. Okay, hi. I thought we would finish up here. I tried to sit down on my bed, but the bar on that side, it's not as high as this behind me, but it's still high enough that it cuts into my thighs when I try to sit down. um, and even though I just finally got my foam topper for the futon, I got this pink memory foam topper for a pretty good price. It took forever to get here, and I'm so happy that my roommate, my housemate, told me that there's a spare mattress topper in the kitchen. Actually, there's just some random stuff in a lot of nooks and crannies, but it's not like my parents' house, because the spaces that are needed to be used are clean and functional and well maintained and obviously loved. Like, wow. but but yeah, I'm so glad I was able to borrow that for the last couple of weeks, because I didn't bring my mattress from my parents' house, and I'm very grateful for the person who gave me a futon, but I realized, yeah, that thing is really hard, and during the move, I kind of stressed the muscles in my lower back and hips. I have like a piriformis issue. So I was like, well, that's probably not helping to sleep on a really hard futon. So, um, but this feels great, and I think it will help help a lot. So yeah, I think that's all for now. Thank you for try to angle this so you're not looking at my nose. Thank you for hanging out with me and um, hearing the news about my new place. I did finally figure out an outro, because everyone has to have their own outro for the way that they end their YouTube videos. I don't have the helpers with that I would need with that outro right now, but I can still say it. It's time to goat. Because goats, yeah. So if it seems like I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at myself instead of the camera because it's still, you usually can't tell because it's further away, but I've never gotten in the habit of looking at the actual camera. But I guess that's it. So yeah, it's time to goat. Bye.